Hello there. In order to keep my word, I'm going to give you a tour of Dawnfire Garden. I'll be honest, it's not much. There's still a lot of work to do, but we got to start somewhere, huh? So right here, these are my sunflowers. These are a smaller variety, not the super big ones, but they're smaller ones. They're doing all right for the most part, though some of the leaves on the bottom are suffering, it looks like. My hope is that I can grow these to seed and then plant some more next year with some better soil. Because last year when I planted these, I didn't plant them until it was too late, so they didn't mature fully. But this year, it seems to be doing a lot better. Down at the bottom there, I've got some ram seeds that I threw down there with them just for the heck of it. Also some mint over there. I think there's a couple tomato plants growing there and also a broccoli plant. Just some old seeds I threw down there to see if they would grow. Which they are. I don't know how they'll do growing some sunflowers, but I'm just experimenting right now. Just finding out what works from experience, you know? Now down here, there's a lot of hard clay soil. The reason is because when we dug out the foundation for that shed over there, we threw the clay soil down here. And over time it's compacted and hardened. It's not really good for gardening. So I'm digging it out, replacing it with better soil. So over time I hope to transform this to make it a lot better for planting. You see I've got some young watermelon plants there. I don't know if they're gonna grow honestly, but we'll see. Some little tomato plants over there too. There's also an old potato plant here too. Probably one of the ones planted last year. I got a bunch of carrots here and a bunch of weeds. A lot of work to do there. I've got some watermelon plants growing over there. That's a little marigold plant that I transplanted out here, but I think I did it when it was too young. I should have waited a little bit longer. But I'm learning, so learning from experience. I've also got some random corn plants here too. My goodness, this is a mess. I got a lot of work to do. Over here you got more weeds. There's some bigger watermelon plants in there, but they're surrounded by weeds. I need to weed it out later. More weeds and carrot plants. Now over here you'll see some pumpkin plants. They've gotten out of control. And also more weeds. I need to get those weeds out of there. Over here I got some potato plants from last year, it looks like. I'll probably just leave them be. I've got some young pumpkin plants here on the sill I made. More young pumpkin plants. Some little carrots down there, more pumpkin plants. And up here is, well, that's the carrot flower from another video. Unfortunately, a huge rainstorm came, knocked it around and broke the bottom, so it's really struggling. I propped it up with some sticks down there. I don't know if you can see it from there, just to stabilize it a little bit, but it's kind of just barely hanging in there. Hanging in there, carrot plant. Over here's a compost pile. I'll probably move that somewhere else at some point, but right now it's just staying there. More pumpkins, more little pumpkins. Another pumpkin mound here. Over here there's a bunch of carrots and more weeds. What a surprise. We've been getting a lot of rain lately. I've got a couple pea plants by the fence there. A bunch of seeds didn't sprout. So I think, well, they were old seeds, so you know. Some of them probably just didn't sprout. Well, I didn't take care of them well enough. But I'm learning. So pea plants there. Now down here is the fun part. More clay soil. Here's one of my apple trees. It's about 2 years old now. It's growing fairly well. Although some of the leaves have some brown spots on it. I think it's either nutritional deficiency or it's from a fungus. I gotta look into that. But this apple tree is doing all right. Probably needs to be pruned soon though. Small apple tree over here. This is the one that dang deer, ate from last year. Ate a lot of the branches off, so it's struggling, but it's doing a lot better now. I think it still needs some more nutrition though. Right, over here, that's that blueberry bush I put it in for the other video. And look, the blueberries are starting to mature, so I guess it was the right call. I'll probably go bigger next year. Here's some another blueberry bush. I got about 6 of them all together. You probably can't see them from here, but there's about 6 there. They're doing all right, but I've noticed some of the leaves have spots on them, so I wonder if that's a fungus infection or a nutritional deficiency, so I'm going to look into that and try to fix that. But they're all doing all right otherwise. That's one. That's two right there, smaller one. This one's struggling. 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, these 6 plus that other one. There's an ant on there. Over here I got a bunch of little carrots that I planted. Also another pea plant hanging in there. I need to weed this too. This is a pink lady apple tree, but it's struggling. I probably need to improve the soil. I need to also finish cleaning this fence line of all those weeds. There's another pink lady over here. These pink ladies, by the way, I planted this year a few months ago. I need to finish cleaning the fence line down to give them more room. Over here we got some carrots, a couple of tomato plants. I planted them outside for as an experiment. They seem to be doing all right so far. One watermelon plant from the seeds I planted there. Let me think, what else do I have? Oh yeah. So my plan is to eventually expand this garden all the way down here. But the big problem besides the clay soil is this dang tree here. This willow tree. This is an old willow tree. It's been here for like my entire life. At one point we tried to cut it down because my dad wanted to clear it out for the shed there because he was worried it would fall on it. But we didn't end up cutting it the whole way, so we basically cut off most of it and left it like a huge trunk there. And never got back to it, and it regrew its branches, and it's been here ever since. You know, that part's rotting right there, as you can see, but the rest of the tree is doing all right. I had to cut off that branch though, not only to make room for the apple trees, but also because it broke due to the wind and I had to cut it off. I trimmed off another couple branches there too to give room for the apple trees. Okay, let me think. I think that's basically everything except for one thing. Hold on. All right, so this is the other side of the yard. If you look on this instead, you can see 2 cherry trees. 2 plants I'm particularly happy with. They're growing pretty well over here. That's a giant pit they're digging out for like the, you know those giant swimming pools you put above ground? It's that. The one you fill up with water and keep it above ground. So that's what I'm getting some of the dirt from my garden. I'm carrying it over there. The garden's over there on the other side of the fence. There's trash over there too, but we'll get to that later. And over here, this is one of the cherry trees. It's planted next to a rotting stump. I think that's why the soil is so good, because the rotting stump is enriching the soil. That's why this one's doing really well. I planted it a couple months ago and it's really taking off. And over here is the other one. It's doing all right, but the problem is it's leaning over because I didn't plant straight, so it's kind of annoying. Again, that's the pit for the swimming pool. And on the other side of the fence over there is the garden. Hold on. All right, I'm back on the other side of the yard now. It's starting to rain, so I got this done just in time. That's basically everything except for one more thing. That's a compost pile where we put our food scraps. Because when we dug out this foundation for sorry, I'm stuttering too much again. When we dug out the foundations for the shed, we left like a low ground there, so we filled that with compost, you know, like dirt, food scraps to help build it up again. Looks like some of the pumpkin seeds I threw in there from last year have grown. They've got these huge pumpkin vines growing on the fence line there. Also down there too. So that'll be interesting. Also some rhubarb, it looks like. More weeds. And yeah, that's basically everything. So as you can see, there's a lot to do in this garden. I got big plans. I want to expand the whole garden, clean it up, make it look nice and pretty. It's just going to be a lot of work, but I'm down for it. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.